Ahoy, One Piece fans! Welcome to yet another episode review. Today we're talking episode 1131, titled A Fleeting Moment of Happiness. Kumachi and Ginny. The event. Okay, this is the Revolution Army shows up to save Kumar and everybody else who's incarcerated by the Mad King of Sorbet Kingdom. We're talking about King Becori, if I'm saying that name right, of Sorbet Kingdom, who was a vigilante basically. Mendham was sorry for the spoilers, by the way. Mendham was putting taxes on people, making people pay contributions and all that shit, and he even went on to the point of trying to enslave the southern part of the island because it's a bunch of old people who are not giving taxes and they're sort of killing him and shit. And Kumar shows up, tries to defend the people. He ends up getting arrested. I don't know how, but whatever. I don't know how they overwhelmed him. Dude literally did a whole bubble and blew the shit out of everybody. Somehow they put him in handcuffs, which is insane. But the episode itself had some great things. We got to see Ivankov as you see in the thumbnail, and of course Luffy's dad, the king or the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon D Monkey or Monkey D Dragon, showing up here to save Kumar. And then of course spoilers ahead. Jenny gets kidnapped in the end of the episode. Who kidnaps Jenny is I don't know. And of course, if you see the post-credit scene that shows what's gonna happen next episode, Kuma becomes a father, but Jenny gets kidnapped for 2 years. So how does Kuma become a father? Which makes me think that Kumar is not Jenny's biological. It's not Bunny's biological father, which would make sense. The dude's thumb was bigger than her thigh. It doesn't make sense. And then, of course, when you look into things like that, the fact that when Jenny proposed to Kumar, he thought about his childhood, about him, his father, them getting into slavery because they've got Buccaneer blood. He was like, I'm not doing this to nobody. I'm not making anybody a Buccaneer and getting them kidnapped, which makes things much more understandable. So chances are Bunny is his adopted child, really. He's not really her biological father, based on the fact that she's not even his knee height. We'll just put it that way. Like that. Unless by some weird thing they had coitus and she got kidnapped after that happened. I don't know. But we get to see how Kumar's powers work, how much of a great hero he is, how much he sacrificed for people in Sorbet Kingdom, and we get to see how much of a fierce warrior he is. And I'm still questioning Ivankov for leaving a 7-year-old. And let's be honest. Ivankov leaves these guys at 9 and 10 years, comes back 15, 16 years later, like he left last week. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. Mendham left these kids to fend for themselves, fam. Shows up. 15, 20 years later. Shows up when this guy is 25. That means it's been what? 15 years later, maybe 10 years. I'm not entirely sure on the math there, so I don't want to embarrass myself. But he shows up and he acts like he was gone last week or last month or a year ago. Dude, you've been gone for more than a fucking decade. And Dragon's like, you know how long you've been talking about this one. You're gonna love him. Nigga, you saw me 10 years ago. How did we even know he was alive? Well, let's just pretend they were writing letters. Who gives a shit? But we get to see the nature of Kumar, his character, how he's built throughout this episode itself. We get to see happiness moments. We get to see him. I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this nigga running a church or a hospital? He's out here touching people, doing miracles. And then you see him at the end of the day, after he had healed everybody, taking away their pain. And during that process, you see Jenny showing up all pissed. Like, you can't be healing these people. Come only once in a week. And Kuma's like, I'll do it. Then at the end of the episode, towards the end of the day, not the episode, you see him absorbing all the pain those people suffered. And then you get to find out that if someone doesn't take the pain, it returns back to their people, to where it came from. So basically, it goes to the next level. When you remember in Sabu Odi, when he gave Zoro Luffy's pain, and Zoro cried like nobody's business. And then you see him taking the same pain, back pains, sores of everybody in the village, basically. And then Janie nurses him back to health. Then they explain more about his abilities, which makes him even a more dope character. And then it also explains the whole Bible thing. Why did this nigga always carry a Bible? Because this is a flashback in a way. And then we get to see why he was carrying a Bible all the time. Because dude was a pastor at one point. He was raised by a pastor after his parents got dead and all that. And then he became one himself. And he was doing the African thing of performing miracles. People went to his church and got better, my friend. So I found that very interesting indeed. And of course, we got to find more about, the whole idea how Kuma and Ivankov, Dragon, how they're made in a way. And why the fuck it's taking Dragon forever to actually do something instead of doing a little bit of peace. He's trying to gather as bigger army as possible. He's trying to gather, soldiers and money, to be able to go head on against the Marines, like in full force. So my assumption is he wants to make his own sort of Marine type of big power. That way he can tackle the Marine at once. Attack every Marine base all together. That would topple the Marine. But attacking one base, they move that person over there. So I understand why he's taken nearly fucking 40 years to assemble a team worthy of challenging the Marine. And bear in mind, the Marine keeps recruiting new promising admirals and soldiers and all that. And he's doing that the same way. But the fact that Kuma absorbs pain and somebody has to take it, and his devil fruit is a weird one, in the sense that he's given a devil fruit that holds a lot of weight, in terms of the guy suffered a great ordeal, and he has a devil fruit that can take away pain and give it to somebody else. This guy could take away all his pain and put it to an enemy and be fine, bruv. Wow. It's pretty incredible, if you ask me. His power, his ability. And he's a martyr-like character, really. He takes on the pain of other people. It's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Of course, throughout the whole episode, we had a lot of great character development in terms of the character. We found out more about Kuma's unwavering kindness, his resilience to shine through all sorts of pain and, become the hero that he's meant to be in a way. He's strong-willed. And of course, we look at Jenny, who's portrayed by a strong-willed fighter, but her fate takes a sort of like a tragic turn. A girl who's in love with a guy, he asks the guy to marry him, and he says no, and it seems in face value he's being an ass, but when you see why he's saying no, you get to see the heavy toll this man carries. And then of course Ivankov and Dragon make a special appearance, really, which sort of shows what happened with Kuma joining the Revolution Army, and then of course we're gonna have to find out how he joins the how he becomes an ally of the army, the military in a way. Mendham becomes a warlord, and then he sort of works for the warlords technically work for the Marines in a way. So I want to know how he got to that level. And it could be possibly because of the situation with Jenny getting kidnapped. Question is, who's kidnapped Jenny and why they've kidnapped her? And how does Bonnie come to light? Bonnie looks nothing like this man. Not big, small like her mother. Question is he the father? I don't think so. I think he adopts her when Jenny kicks the bucket. Wherever she's being kidnapped. Is he kidnapped by a celestial dragon? I don't know. Is he kidnapped by the Marines? I don't know. There's a chance they kidnapped him and tried to make Kuma work for them. And who knows? We'll have to find out next week. And of course, sadly, I will not be here next week. I'll try to drop an episode, but I will not be here. There's a high chance I won't be, reacting to any of that. And of course, we'll have to look at the animation design and everything. I pretty much enjoyed the animation, no worries. Nothing over the top, nothing extreme. Of course, there's certain moments I wish, the characters could have done something, but it has nothing to do with the animation. Of course, I'm still concerned about Jenny. I mean, like I said, this guy's thumb, his hand is bigger than her fucking thigh, and she wants to marry the guy. Make that make sense, fam. I know it's a cartoon. It's not a cartoon. It's anime. Don't be disrespectful. I know what you're thinking. It's fiction. I know what you're thinking, but come on, make it realistic a bit. But if he ends up adopting her child, makes way better sense. But I feel like that's what's gonna happen because when you think about him trying to avoid creating more Buccaneers because they get kidnapped for stupid shit, there's a high chance there won't be another one. And I've always wondered what's with the stupid head and ears. Apparently that comes with this devil fruit. So that's a very interesting. I always thought it was just a hat that had the pointy ears on it. But throughout the whole episode, I realized it's a hat, but Mendham has fucking ears like that. I don't know if those are his ears, which is pretty cool in a way. Like he has devil fruit powers that give him weird ears, but he doesn't look like an animal, which is great in my personal opinion. So, yeah. Alert. And of course, we did hop into that whole, Robin's backstory, her island blowing up and shit. So I have to say, it's really going to be interesting how this thing pans out. Soon we'll get back to Egghead and the events, probably get a Buster call, probably get the Straw Hats to escape, who knows what's gonna happen. But it seems like we're on this trailer finding out more about Kumar and his relation with Bonnie, how he became what he is. So, I think this is a very brilliant touch. Because when you think about Kumar helping the Straw Hats, why did he do it? And we get to find out that he's really obsessed with Nika. And probably found out, I don't know, maybe Luffy has that ability. But then again, you would say maybe he found out that he possesses the devil fruit powers of, the Nika fruit. But then when you think that Kuma was close to Vegapunk, you would assume he would have known. But when Vegapunk first saw Luffy's form, he was shocked. So that meant he didn't know. So that means Kuma didn't fucking know that Luffy was sort of like a reincarnate of the Sun God. So why did he help the Straw Hats? Who knows? Dragon? Or he helped the Straw Hats because Luffy's Dragon's son? I don't know. Maybe. That makes more sense, but we'll find out more as the show goes on. Anyway, thanks for watching. As I said, this will be the last episode in this sort of platform. I'll probably be live on my phone from now on for a small period. Other commitment. Anyway, thank you again and adios. Now that was entertaining. Please let us hang out yet another time. Remember to like and subscribe. Adios, folks.